So I thought I had already done a video on this. I'm sure I did. I just can't even find it. I've got over 500 videos since I've started back in 2013. Actually 2010. Can't remember. But my first video was up there. You just gotta sort if you want to see the very first video. I was doing the bow drill fire making method. Anyhow, I'm going to show how to make cordage out of kind of any old piece of cloth or paper or leather. Not paper, but you know, any cloth or leather. If as long as the leather is like clothing weight, lightweight leather. I guess you could do it out of thicker leather. You just have to work it. Anyhow, so I have a odd shape here. This shape was going to be something that I did not end up making it. So what you need to do is really technically start off with making a round piece. Now I could have traced it completely, used the compass and traced a completely round piece of leather here. This is supposed to be buckskin, but this is commercial buckskin. I did not tan this. And so anyways, this is more or less, we'll say this is more or less round, okay? The key is you want to start in, and I don't know, I'm gonna start in about 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and I can kind of eyeball it nowadays to where I can figure out whether I'm doing 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. And you see how I'm just cutting around and around and around just like this, and that's how you keep your consistency. Okay, so it's, you know, you want to start out as round as a piece as possible. I've used rectangular pieces and just rounded the corners and worked from there, but I suggest you, it's starting out, just go round. Okay, so this is how I make cordage for certain projects using buckskin or clothing weight leather, and I'm fairly consistent with the width. Okay, so you can see the amount of cordages we have so far, but we're not quite done. It's going to start to get smaller and smaller and smaller. All right, and it's up to you. You can get it all the way down to when it's finished. But what's happening is it's not so round because it didn't start out round to begin with. And oftentimes you can mitigate that by rounding it some more before you run into that cut. Oftentimes, especially with buckskin, it'll stretch once you've got it all cut out. Okay, so when you run into more oblong or oval shaped pieces, you can head it off by stopping your cut and making it more round as you go around. So and then you just rotate it as you start to cut, and then we're going to stop on this next pass here, and we can cut out like that. So we're left with this little tiny piece. We could have been further. As you can see that, you know, we have basically cordage that we can work with. Now what I like to do, especially with buckskin, is it's important to wet it, right? And oftentimes I'll just use saliva. I'll double it up and I'll do saliva or water and just stretch it, okay? And then it'll end up becoming more straight. Okay, so I'm gonna wet this right quick and then I'll be right back. All right, so here we are. I wet it in the sink here, and we got quite a length of it. And oftentimes too, depending on the materials, is I'll double it up so I don't snap it. Again, it's wet, so I'm kind of stretching it between my hands. I'm not really pulling it too roughly, but just enough to give it some stretch. It is leather, it's skin, and skin stretches. So I'll just do this a couple of times, or I will affix this to a weight and hang it, right? And then hang it overnight while it dries so it gets straight. But anyways, this is serviceable cordage as is. I'm gonna do what's called a fireman's coil here as a knot to kind of have this not all over the place. But the length of this I haven't measured. I'm sure there's some math in the diameter versus the width that you're cutting it you know, whether it be 16th, 18th, a quarter, to you know, half inch in width, to the length of cordage that you're liable to get out of it, what it yields. So I'm sure that there is some sort of math equation in there. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's something you can figure out if you want to play with this. But all I'm doing is making a fireman's coil here. Just kind of wrap it around. It's very similar to common whipping. Find the end, pull it through like so. And then we have our cordage like that. And that was just from a round piece of leather. So you can do that with fabric, clothing weight leather, felt, you know, rawhide. You can pretty much do it with anything to get a length of cordage.